Today we're taking a look at these NBA matches, which are happening on Wednesday, October 19, 2022, and giving you match breakdowns, betting tips and predictions in general on these games. Welcome back to High Stakes, let's get straight into it. Also, don't forget to subscribe and push that notification bell to get notified as soon as we release these sport prediction videos. And if you would like more betting tips and predictions, then check out our Patreon in the link down below. Our new Patreon is a way for us to help you improve your chances of making more money. Multiple plans are available for each and every one of you. By becoming a member of the High Stakes Patreon, you will have access to our best team picks, total picks, parlay picks and much more. Stop wasting hours of your time searching for bad betting predictions that ends up costing you a lot of time and money. Join the High Stakes Patreon now and get the best betting picks. New York Knicks vs Memphis Grizzlies. Last year, the Knicks were 26th in the league in scoring offense with 106.5 points per contest. New York was tied for 4th in the league in rebounding as they collected 46.1 rebounds per game, while they were 30th in the league in assists by dishing out 21.9 dimes per contest. The Knicks were 6th in the league in scoring defense by allowing 106.6 points per contest. Julius Randle led the team with 20.1 points, 9.9 rebounds and 5.1 assists per contest. Evan Fournier contributed 14.1 points a game, Obi Toppin added 9 points a night, and RJ Barrett kicks in 20 points, plus 5.8 boards per contest. Derrick Rose, 12 points, 4 assists, and Jalen Brunson, 16.3 points, 4.8 assists with Dallas, each are solid secondary options as well. Emmanuel Quickley, 11.3 points, Mitchell Robinson, Jericho Sims, Quentin Grimes and Cam Reddish are key reserves for coach Tom Thibodeau. New York was 27th in the league in field goal percentage as they shot 43.7% from the floor as a team. The Knicks were tied for 8th in the league in threes per game as they knocked down 13.2 triples a night, while they were 13th in three-point shooting by hitting 35.7% of their attempts from beyond the arc last season. The Knicks hope to take a step or two forward this season after making the aggressive free agent signing of Brunson, giving them a guard that is capable of filling up the stat sheet. We know that New York is an aggressive defensive team that was among the league's best when it came to preventing points from the opposition last season. This will be a major test for the Knicks as Memphis was 2nd in the league in scoring offense last season, and they bring back almost all of their weapons from a season ago. The Grizzlies are tough on the glass and will run teams ragged all season long. With Memphis having the majority of their group back this season, you have to give them the edge in chemistry. They also are at home, which points the needle toward Memphis in this contest. Our team pick is Memphis Grizzlies minus 5.5 points. The offense usually takes a back seat in the early portions of the season as teams try to figure their offensive sets out. This will ring true on Wednesday night as missed shots will lead to easy defensive rebounds by Memphis's Adams and New York's Randle. Second chance points will be at a minimum in the opening game of the season. Each team having to hit 113 points seems way too high for this contest on the first game of the year. Our team pick is under 226 points. Oklahoma City Thunder vs Minnesota Timberwolves. The Oklahoma City Thunder entered the season as the youngest team in the NBA. Last season, the Thunder finished 24-58, which was the 4th worst record in the NBA. OKC took Chet Holmgren out of Gonzaga with the 2nd pick in the 2022 NBA draft, but he will miss the entire season with a foot injury. Last season the Timberwolves went 46-36 during the regular season before beating the Clippers in the NBA play-in tournament and falling to the Memphis Grizzlies in a 6-game first-round series. According to Betten, the Timberwolves have an over-under win total set at 48.5, high expectations for a franchise that has not topped the 47-win mark since going 58-24 back in 2003-04 when Kevin Garnett won MVP. I love this number for the Thunder. Oklahoma City covered 66% of its games as a road underdog last season and was the 2nd-best team Austrian shillings overall, covering in 61.5% of their games overall. Timberwolves fans have reasons for optimism, but this team made drastic roster changes in acquiring Rudy Gobert. I see the chemistry of Gobert and Towns playing together taking some time, and I see the young and hungry Thunder keeping this game within single digits. Our team pick is Oklahoma City Thunder plus 11 points. It was an abysmal 2021-22 for Oklahoma City, who finished with the fourth worst record in the NBA, winning only 4 of their final 20 games, the final 3 blowouts by 19 or more points. They averaged a league-low 103.7 points per game, and their -8.1 point differential average was third worst. Point guard Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had a team-best 24.5 points per game average, but that was cut down to 18 in the 4 games against Minnesota last season, including a season-low 8 in their final meeting last March. Minnesota had a massive turnaround, winning 23 more games than the season prior, prompting a return to the postseason for the first time since the 2017-18 campaign. They went 15-6 down the stretch in the regular season and were 42-38 Austrian shillings overall. The 116 points per game average by this squad last season was an NBA best, led by Karl Anthony Towns and his 24.6 per game, complemented by 9.8 rebounds. Former top pick Anthony Edwards took a step forward in his sophomore campaign, averaging 21.3 points per game. The team will need to tighten up on the 113.3 points per game allowed last season. That mark was 7th highest against a defense. Center Rudy Gobert, acquired by trade in July, should anchor things down on that front after leading the NBA with 14.7 rebounds per game and finishing third with 2.1 blocks per game. In the last 3 matchups between these two teams, the combined score would have eclipsed the OU set for this game. The 12's offense is plenty potent with a 116.0 points per game average last season. Minnesota has also scored over 130 points in the last 3 games versus the Thunder. Only once in the last 10 matchups have both teams failed to score over 100 points. It's opening night and we expect the baskets to be dropping. Our total pick is over 228.5 points. San Antonio Spurs vs Charlotte Hornets. Charlotte's LaMelo Ball became a star for the team and one of the better point guards in the NBA last season after averaging 20.1 points, 7.6 assists and 6.7 rebounds per game. Miles Bridges was charged with domestic violence during the offseason and his status is unknown at this time. Last season Bridges averaged 20.2 points per game. Gordon Hayward returns and provides much-needed scoring as well as leadership. The San Antonio Spurs finished 10th in the Western Conference last season at 34-48. San Antonio was 16-25 at home and 18-23 on the road. The Spurs are looking to the future this season with a lineup that most basketball pundits will not recognize. San Antonio dealt Dejounte Murray to Atlanta and received several draft choices as well as Danilo Gallinari, who they have since waived. San Antonio now has 5 additional first-round picks through the 2028 draft. Keita Bates-Diop played very well last season for the Spurs and will join Jakob Poeltl and Jeremy Sochan to give San Antonio a solid frontcourt. Keldon Johnson and Poeltl are the top 2 players returning from last season. Tre Jones will be the top point guard and Josh Primo the first player off the bench. Charlotte has covered the number in 4 out of the last 5 head-to-head against San Antonio and will face a Spurs squad that is in complete rebuild mode after trading away leading scorer Dejounte Murray and receiving several draft picks. Our team pick is Charlotte Hornets -1.5 points. Charlotte had a minor offseason as they lost Montrezl Harrell, while Miles Bridges is still an RFA due to an ongoing legal situation. As for additions, the Hornets drafted Mike Williams in the first round while signing Dennis Smith and Theo Maledon, but the big news is LaMelo Ball will miss opening night due to an ankle injury. San Antonio continued its rebuild in the offseason as the big news was the Spurs trading Dejounte Murray to Atlanta while also moving on from Lonnie Walker IV who signed with the Lakers. In return, the Spurs went young as they had 3 first-round picks used on Jeremy Sochan, Malaki Branham, and Blake Wesley. With them being so young, head coach Greg Popovich didn't have much confidence in them making a deep playoff run. With the Spurs going young and LaMelo Ball out of the lineup, I like the under here as I expect both offenses to struggle early on. Last year, San Antonio was 41-42 in hitting the under while Charlotte was 42-41, and that was with more offensive weapons for both teams. Along with that, last season, Hornets games averaged 227.8 ppg, while Spurs games averaged 224.7 ppg. Although Charlotte and San Antonio played at a high pacer last season, ranking 5th and 4th in the NBA last season. That will add to more possessions, but both teams should struggle out of the gate shooting, which is why I like the under 229, as I think it's set a tad too high.